Hello students, my name is Manisha Madekar. We are going to study the basic concepts of C++ programming for computer science students. This is the brief revision of standard 11. So the C++ is as you know, it is a object oriented programming language. That's why we called it as a OOPS, and it was developed by Bjarne Stroustrup at AT&T Lab in USA. The advantages of C++ language over C language. It is incremented version of C. It means all C programs can also run in C++ compiler. The important facilities added in C++ are classes, function overloading, operator overloading, etc. It allows user to create abstract data types to inherit properties from existing data type. C++ supports polymorphism, the ability to take more than one form. That particular thing is called as polymorphism. C++ programs can be easily implemented, maintained, and expanded. Any real-life application system such as editor, compiler, database, communication system can be built using C++. Advantages of object-oriented programming, that is OOPS. The principle of data hiding helps the programmer to build secure program. It is possible to have multiple instances of an object to coexist without interference. It is easy to divide the work in small parts based on object. Software complexity can be easily managed. Using inheritance, one can eliminate redundant code and extend the use of existing class. There are three main basic built-in data types in C++. These are the data types in C++. Integral data type, void, and floating. Under integral, that is int means integer, char character. Under integer, again they are divided in long int and short int. Under the float data type, there is a float value and double value. Integral data type includes int and char, in which int variable requires 2 bytes to store and char variable requires 1 byte. Integer variable also have two types, long int which requires 4 byte and short int which requires 2 bytes to store. Void data type, it is used to specify the return type of a function when it is not returning any value. It indicates an empty argument list to a function. Floating point, they are divided into two types, namely float variable which requires 4 bytes and double which requires 8 bytes to store. There is one more data type, that is long double, which requires 10 bytes. In C++, there are two ways of selection statements. The if statement, it has three forms. First is simple if statement. The syntax for writing simple if statement. If into bracket, condition statement, curly bracket, opening curly bracket, then the statement 1, closing curly bracket, and statement 2. As you know, every C++ statement ends with semicolon, but there is no semicolon in front of if statement, that is if condition without semicolon. Depending on the condition value, program execution proceeds in one direction or another. That is, if the condition is true, the first statement gets executed, and if the condition is false, the second statement gets executed. Second type is if-else format. In this, the syntax is if condition statement, the statement to be executed if the condition is true, else statement 2 to be executed if the condition is false, and then proceed with statement 3. Next is else if ladder. It helps user decide from among multiple options. The C++ if statements are executed from the top down. As soon as one of the conditions controlling the if is true, the statement associated with that is executed, and the rest of C else if ladder is bypassed. If none of the conditions is true, then the final else statement will be executed. If condition 1, statement 1, else if condition 2, statement 2, up to the else statement. See, for example, in the second example, that is if else format, if the numbers, we are comparing the two numbers and we want to display maximum of two numbers. So a is equal to 4 and b is equal to 6. So if a is greater than b is the condition. So if a is greater than b, it will execute the statement 1. Else it will execute the statement 2. Here in this example, that is else if ladder, if the first condition is true, suppose we are comparing the number a is equal to 4, and now we are comparing this 4 with the numbers in between 1 to 5. So if a is equal to 1, it will display statement 1. Else if a is equal to 2, it will display statement 2. Else if a is equal to 3, it will display statement 3. Else if a is equal to 4, it will display statement 4. Now the initial value of a is 4 and the condition is matching with a is equal to 4. Then it will display the statement which is related to this particular condition. If it is not matching any condition, it will display the else statement. Now let us see some programs. This is a program based on simple if. Here we are writing the code in main, and this main will return an integer value. That's why int main. Here we are initializing a as the integer data type variable with the value 10. If a is less than 20, that is if the condition is true, then print the following statement, that is a is less than 20. Cout value of a is, and it will print value of a as 10. Now here a is less than 20, the condition is true. So it will print a is less than 20. It will also print the value of a is, that is 10. Next is if else statement. Int a is equal to 100, we are again initializing a variable a of integer data type as a 100. If a is less than 20, it will print if the first condition, that is a is less than 20, is true, then it will print a is less than 20. Else it will print a is not less than 20. Here the value of a is 100, so it is not less than 20. So it will print the statement next to else keyword, that is a is not less than 20. It will also print the value of a as 20, as 100, sorry. Next is else if ladder. Here we are initializing the value of I is equal to 20. Here the name of the variable is I. So if I is equal to 10, then it will print I is 10. Since I is not 10, So check if I is 15. Now this is second condition. Else if I is equal to 15, then if the condition matches, it will print I is 15. Since I is not 15, it will not print this statement. Now next condition is else if I equal to 20. Now this condition is true. So it will print cout I is 20. If none of the above condition is true, then it will execute the else statement I is not present. In C++ programming language, there are various loops. The loops are while loop, repeats a statement or group of statements while a given condition is true. It tests the condition before executing the loop body. Next is for loop. Execute a sequence of statements multiple times and abbreviates the code that manages the loop variable. Next, do while loop. This is same like while statement except it tests the condition at the end of the loop body. Nested loop. You can use one or more loop inside any another while, for or do while loop. So the loop inside another loop is called as nested loop. For loop. A for loop is repetition control structure that allows you to efficiently write a loop that needs to execute a specific number of times. Syntax for writing for loop: for into round bracket, initialization of a variable, condition statement, and increment or decrement of a variable. Inside the curly bracket, there are the statements to be executed. Here is the flow of control in a for loop. The initialization step is executed first and only once. This step allows you to declare and initialize any loop control variables. You are not required to put a statement here as long as a semicolon appears. Next, the condition is evaluated. If it is true, the body of the loop is executed. The next statement. If it is false, the body of the loop does not execute and flow of control jumps to the next statement just after the for loop. After the body of the for loop executes, the flow of control jumps back up to the increment statement. This statement can be left blank as long as semicolon appears after the condition. The condition is now evaluated again. If it is true, the loop executes and the process repeats itself. Body of loop, then increment step, and then again condition. After the condition becomes false, the for loop terminates. Now this is one of the example for loop. For int a is equal to 10. So here we are initializing the value of a as 10. The condition checking statement is a less than 20 and increment statement is a is equal to a plus 1. It will display value of a every time. So the output of the above code is, initially it will display value of a as 10. Then it will increment the value of a is equal to a plus 1 to 11. Again it will check the condition whether a is less than 20. Yes, it is true. So it will display the statement value of a is equal to 11. Again it will increment a by 1. So now the value of a is 12. Here it will check the condition. Yes, the condition is true. It will print the value as 12. Now this will be executed until the value of a becomes 20. When the value of a becomes 20, here the condition becomes false because we are checking a is less than 20. And when a becomes 20, a is equal to 20. It is not less than 20. So it will come out of the loop.